that could
No,
be.
watch
I see
this.
you feeling some type of way.
No, it's all about how you deliver it. Communication is 70% of not what you say, is how you say it. Right. So say it right. You know what I'm saying? So I see you feeling some type of way, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if we can. Let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. Let's get to the bottom of it, because all I want to do is love you. Come on.
Well, what if it's?
Come on. Come on.
What's up, y'all? Sid Entertainer. I'm asking y'all to check out the Loveology podcast. This is.
Hello, and welcome to the Loveology podcast, where we talk about love and life with laughter. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jason.
He's the carefree one.
She's the serious one. And we're married. We have been since 2012, and we like to think of ourselves as a couple of loveologists.
Not because we are the experts, but because we just love love.
We enjoy studying and talking about it, so we thought, let's just start a podcast.
A place where we can share what we have learned about love, relationships, and marriage.
You can share what you've learned, and we can all grow together.
So here we are. Are you ready?
Let's get started. What's up, world? Another episode of the Loveology podcast. We are here and you are there. Glad y'all checking in with us today. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you smash that like button. And baby girl, how you doing?
I'm good.
You good?
Yes.
You say that all the time.
I know. I need to come up with something else to say.
What makes you
I'm
like?
I'm fantastic. I'm elated, ecstatic. Yes.
All that.
All of that.
Well, how was your week this week?
It was good. It was good.
Give me some highlights. What you said?
What were the highlights? I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know of any highlights for me?
You know I know highlights.
Okay, yes. Hit me.
Well, number one, I just want to give a shout out to India real quick, because India is going through a lot. You know, they still get hit with the corona bug out there, and so a lot of people losing their lives, and so definitely pray for India. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of listeners from India that checks in, so we appreciate that, and we're praying for you guys and the whole world. So definitely want to do that. Give a shout out to that. Another highlight. I hope y'all been following us on social media, Twitter. On Twitter, it's a little bit different. It's Loveology Podcast without the T, because we ran out of characters. But Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, I posted a couple of videos. One video was one with our kids doing their affirmations. So that was a highlight of the week, even though we do that every day, Monday through Friday for the most part. But that was a cool little highlight. So hopefully you following and catching that. And if you're not, go check that out. Yes. And also my back is a little my back is a little sore.
Yes.
And so for the people that's been following us, they know I went to the trampoline park on one of them days. I can't remember this weekend.
Yeah, it was at some point this week. I think it was like Monday or Tuesday or something. Yeah. It was really early.
Yeah. I tried to do a flip, try to show them a thing or two, but as you can see, I failed. I was failing a lot. And I knew that I need to sit my tail down on these trampolines.
That's right.
Trampolines a little workout. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
all I remember is just jumping. It wasn't a workout as a kid.
I remember when I maybe the last time I was on one, maybe I was older or something, but your body is like always sore if you're not working out, like if you're not jumping on the trampoline, normally, and you just jump on it. Oh man, your whole body.
Is a trampoline a full body workout or something?
Yeah, people work out on trampolines.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't know if it's a full body workout, but I know that yes. But also the soreness came from him flipping and landing on the trampoline and stuff like that. And he was like, my back hurt. I need to go back to the chiropractor and all that stuff. And then this is before he showed me the video of himself flipping around on the trampolines and landing all crazy. You know what I mean? Hey. It's like, this is why your back is hurting. It's like, what's wrong with you?
It's all good. It's all good, y'all. So I had a good laugh on that, and also I passed my my pilot's test, part 107. So shout out to me for that. For finally, so now I am officially a pilot. I'm registered with the FAA.
He's a drone pilot.
Okay, what's that mean?
I don't think it's.
Do you want to classify helicopter pilot with a fixed wing aircraft pilot? I am a pilot, but I pilot unmanned aircraft.
Yes, you pilot unmanned aircrafts. Let's say that though.
Okay, but I'm officially a pilot.
You are, honey.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Y'all know she don't give me props often.
Congratulations.
Like, golly. You know what I'm saying? Like, if y'all took that test, for the people out there that flies these drones and had to go take that Part 107 test to get your pilot license, it's a difficult test. And it's not you just can't wing it.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
But when you go through that test, you will understand why you are a pilot.
First of all,
because you have to know pilot stuff. Period.
Everyone listen. I've already praised Jason, jumped for joy. We've already, talked about this.
She probably rehearsed it
multiple times. We've already talked about this like so many times. So I'm very excited. I'm just saying, go ahead and throw that unmanned vehicle, whatever you just said.
Unmanned aircraft. I was going to.
Unmanned aircraft. When you say pilot.
You just jumped the gun.
Okay.
Can I thought I was telling y'all. I asked her, did she have some updates? Now I'm trying to take her unmanned aircraft. Yeah, it's coming.
My apologies.
Moving right along. So basically it's gonna be that gives us access to make sure y'all go subscribe to Loveology Travel. Bow! Because that's gonna give us access to some pretty dope locations where most drone pilots can't. Well, some people that flies drones recreationally, they can't fly in these areas. You got to have a pilot's license. So that's going to really kick up Loveology Travel. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be some awesome videos. We're going to get ready to go on a trip here soon. So we're going to be able to put out our first one of our first series of videos with Loveology Travel here in the next month. So I'm excited about that. So stay tuned for that. And last but not least, as far as the updates, I want to give a shout out to our top countries, our top 5 countries. Now, obviously, United States is number 1. So we want to give, number 1, United States. So shout out to United States. But I want to give top 5 for other countries other than the United States, right? So, going with, so shout out to India, the UK, Canada, Australia, South Africa, and Colombia is tied. So give a shout out to all of them. So thank y'all for showing us some love, taking the time to listen to the Loveology podcast. We really appreciate it. And also want to give a shout out to the top 5 states of the United States that listen to the Loveology podcast, and that's California, Ohio, Mississippi, Georgia, and Texas.
What's up?
What it is, what it do, dog. So that's for the month. This past month, we in May now. We could probably do some all time a little bit later. So I'm trying to see what's up with Arkansas. Where y'all at, Arkansas?
I know, right?
Where y'all at?
Dang.
Where y'all at?
We out here repping y'all.
Repping
the home state.
Us. You saying repping y'all, repping us.
Oh, repping us. That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cali stepping up, but shoot, Cali don't know us like that. What's up? ARK is where we stay. We'll do a little rock bounce or what? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I just want to get a little updates before we jump right into the episode of Difficult Conversation. Do you have anything else on that?
Oh, yes. A really big news is that this is our 100th episode.
100th episode. Shout out to the Loveology podcast for holding it down for 100 episodes. That's 1 with 2 zeros. Hey.
Okay.
I'm just saying that rhymed a little bit.
It was cute. I liked it.
I thought it was.
Yeah, it was. But y'all know I gotta hate on Jason.
And that's what she do. If
this is your first time listening, you'll find out soon. You just found out.
Right, obviously. And then also, this is your first time. We are continuing we've been on this difficult conversation for a while because it's difficult, right?
Yeah.
So make sure you go check out the previous episodes. Pow, right there. And
episodes 91 through. We took 2 weeks and did something else. So just look around 91 and go from there.
We got a whole list of them, right? It's a playlist,
Yeah, I mean, for our listeners that are not on YouTube.
Oh, well, listeners definitely go check to look on YouTube.
They may be listening to the Apple podcast.
Definitely, they are listening. We got a lot of listeners don't chime in on YouTube.
Exactly.
So definitely, we got more listeners than we do have viewers.
Yes.
At this point.
Yes, for sure.
So all our listeners, come on, just hit that subscribe button. We getting our subscribers up to 1 million subscribers. That's the goal. Right now, we under 250, 260.
Yeah, I think we're up to 260 now on YouTube. On YouTube, but we have, like I said, way more listeners on the audio only platforms.
Correct.
Yes,
way more listeners. So we appreciate y'all. You know, if you don't want to subscribe on YouTube, that's fine. We good. Stay listening. Just listen. Hear me. All right, let's dive in.
So yes, as Jason said, we are continuing the conversation about how to have difficult conversations. We have spent so much time on this because this is extremely important.
Yep.
Okay. And I've been enjoying it. We're talking about different things every episode. So this episode, we are going to talk about when you get ready to have the difficult conversation, how do you get started? How do you do this? Okay. And a difficult conversation, again, is anything that you find difficult to talk about. So just kind of backtracking a little bit, you know, this episode, if you're not familiar with this podcast, we primarily talk about, you know, love and romantic relationships, but we've been, this is our first time kind of, not our first time, but we are opening it up to, like, you know, people. How do we navigate like any relationship, the relationship with your manager, the relationship with your children, the relationship with your family?
What about a relationship with your dog?
That's what he said. But like, I mean, I guess like
how you have a difficult conversation with your dog? I
guess when you potty training them, not potty training them, but what do you call it when it's a, you know,
you discipline them for chewing up your slipper?
No, when you're teaching them to poop outside or like, you know.
I guess it's probably just training them in general.
Yeah. So anyway, so yes, I mean, talk positive to your animal, Jason. We don't have one. I mean, well, we
got fish right now.
We have fish, and that's a long story, you guys. Like, I'm really irritated. I'm really irritated by these fish. Like, it's a long story. I'm not even gonna go into it. So anyway, let's see. What was I saying, Jason? Let's see. Oh, yeah. So, you know, so this is our first kind of series about, you know, having conversations with other people besides like your romantic partner, but definitely this still applies to your romantic partner as well.
Yes.
So, Jason, you like to say this a lot. You like to say there are 3 sides to a story.
Sure.
How does it go, Jason?
Well, it's your perspective, their perspective, and then the true perspective.
Okay, so I'm gonna challenge that a little bit.
Come on, bring it on.
Well, you changed it to perspective because I think the way that people,
I gave
I don't think that's the way that you normally say it.
But that's how I'm saying. So challenge it.
Well,
so now you don't want to challenge it.
I was expecting him to say, "Is my side your side," and then the truth. You know,
and it's similar to the same. But you know, all I'm saying is expect the unexpected when you're dealing with me.
Oh gosh. So yeah, basically.
So you can't challenge it. Basically, what you're saying.
Well,
now it's gonna be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, because that's basically what the book is saying. So,
okay.
Yeah. If you want to know like more about what we were talking about before we got to this, because we did talk a lot about like, you know, what makes a difficult conversation difficult, and we broke it down into like having, like you're really having 3 conversations at the same time, and one is the what happened conversation, and the feelings conversation. What happened is basically what happened. Like going back to this is pointing back to this what we're talking about now, as far as in that portion, the what happened portion, we talked about how everyone has different stories and everyone sees events differently, right? Not, you know what I mean, right? So if there's a conflict between you and another person, it's because you're seeing it differently. And the reason why you're seeing it differently is because you come from different backgrounds. And just, you know.
It's kind of like the books of the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's the same story, but they're seeing it differently.
Look at you.
Come on now. Expect the unexpected.
But it's the same. They are telling the same event, you know, things that happen, but some of them say some things and some of them leave the, you know, other things out because maybe they didn't see that part. I don't know.
If they wasn't as important, they wouldn't even have them in the Bible in the first place.
Yes.
So it's a reason why they got them in there. Perspectives are important.
Right. But then also it's about how we interpret how the event happened as well. Sure. Right.
Yeah.
So yes. So going back to this of like, how do you want to start with a difficult conversation? You want to begin with the third story. And that is, like removing yourself from your story.
Yes.
And looking and trying to think about how the other person sees it, and really looking at it as if you're a mediator. Like objective, try to pull yourself out.
So you said the third story. What is the
third story? Is looking at it as if you're a person that's looking on.
So you're looking at the whole. You're not necessarily looking at your perspective or her perspective, or you're just looking at the whole thing from afar.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, let me back up a little bit. So there's two things that they say you can do to really help when you're starting a difficult conversation. And the first one is to begin the conversation from the third story, like what we were just talking about. And number two is to offer an invitation to explore the issues jointly. Okay. So we're starting with beginning from the third story. The third story might be the one offered by a marriage counselor. In a dispute between friends, the third story may be the perspective of a mutual friend who sees each side as having valid concerns that need to be addressed.
Okay.
So basically, we also talked about in previous episodes that, you know, when a conflict arises, a lot of times is both people have contributed to this, right? So this saying that, you know, it's a person seeing that both people have valid concerns. So going to this point of when you're in an argument with, you know, another person, let's move away from blaming them or like saying that the way that they feel is not valid. Right. We have to lean more to understanding of trying to figure out what it is that you feel, what it is that you think is happening. And I want to understand that. Right. So what do you think?
So I was just trying to get an understanding because you said go with the third story first, right? And that means pulling back. Okay. But am I pulling back from so pull back and focus on her perspective, and she's supposed to pull back and focus on my perspective?
No. So if you're, you know, the person that's initiating, and not always initiating, but just the person that has this knowledge that we're gaining right now. Okay. Right. Okay. So you're pulling back to at least acknowledge that their side. Okay. Right. Like,
okay, how do okay, so let's just say somebody, your boyfriend come in at, you know, 3:00 in the morning, kicking it with the fellas, you know what I'm saying? Corona is kind of dissipating. They've been stuck in the house for quite some time, but they want to go out and kind of have some fun. But then the lady is just like, you know, like, dang, you've been kicking it. I mean, I understand, but like, come on, 3 a.m, what's up? So she come in barking at me. You out 3 a.m? What do I do?
So we're gonna get to that. That's a good example. But let me keep going, and we can use that example when I get to that exact thing that you're describing. Okay. So the think like a mediator is what they're saying to do. Okay. Vantage point of a neutral observer. That's what you want to take. Like pretend like, okay, I'm not even in this. Let me pull back and let me try to see both things. Mediators are third parties who help people solve their problems. Unlike judges or arbitrators, though mediators have no power to impose a solution, they are there to help the two sides communicate more effectively and explore possible ways of moving forward. So if you want to pretend like you're a mediator, this means describing the problem between the parties in a way that rings true for both sides simultaneously. So basically it's like mediators. They say that mediators are not like a magical person. They just have a particular formula that they use when they're trying to help two people communicate effectively. Yeah. Why are you looking at my lips?
No, I was just seeing how far you're away from the microphone. It's okay.
Okay. And this formula can be learned by anyone. You don't have to be an impartial third party to begin from the third story. You can begin your own conversations in this way. The key to learning is to describe the gap or difference between your story and the other person's story. Whatever else you may think and feel, you can at least agree that you and the other person see things differently. So you just think about, okay, how are we seeing this differently?
Yeah.
And you begin like that.
Okay.
Okay. So now what you're talking about is if you're not the person that's initiating the conversation, this person just hit you upside the head
right.
with the conversation. So they say that you can still do that, right? So what you would do is you would pull back, don't do what.
So she lashing out at you. You just gotta take a couple of them on the chin. You know what I'm saying?
You can look.
Why your crazy butt always da.
Yeah,
just calm down.
Calm down. We've been watching Daniel the Tiger with our with our son, and this is a song he says it's on PBS, and he said when you feel so mad that you want to roar, take a deep breath and count to 4.
Go ahead.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So if somebody come at you like that, this is also something that they speak of. Is that like typically we all have the thing that we typically do is we start with our story, which is the example that you're giving us of this woman who was like, I can't believe that you stayed out this late. This is very inconsiderate. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, she's starting with her story. She's not thinking about what his story is at all.
Exactly.
So that's not what you want to do. And if you
But she coming at you, you just take a break. Take a breath.
Yeah.
Relax. Because what's happening is when somebody attacks you like that, you go into a fight or flight mode.
Exactly.
Right? And so when you take that deep breath, is really important. You take that deep breath, you bringing oxygen into your brains, into your body parts. Because if not, you're going to automatically just shoot to one of those areas. It might be fight or it might be flight. So you don't want to arm those that activity in your brain. So just give it some air to let it know that we good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it'll relax you. And then you can say, hey, here, and you say pull back and look at her perspective.
Yes.
Like, hey, you know what? I didn't think of that. I didn't think of it this way. That does seem a little selfish for me to stay out till 3:00 in the morning. I can see how you are afraid and the reason you're the way you are acting right now. I totally get it. And so what that's going to do, that's going to break down her defense mechanism. Mm-hmm. Where she going to be like, well, dang, I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to expect the unexpected.
Well, and you're not throwing away your story.
Right. You're just going to come right behind it.
Exactly.
You know, then that's when you come with yours and say, hey, I'm not negating what you going through because I didn't think of that initially, but I also want to throw in the pot that I've been stuck in the house for a long time. And, I just want to have some male interaction. I want to hang out with the fellas. And the time just got away from me. I was just having so much fun and got away, and I apologize.
Yeah.
And then from there, y'all can kind of see each other's
and
side
I think,
easily.
Exactly. And I think what they're also saying is focus on the difference of why this is okay for you, but not okay for her. You know what I mean? So you can talk about why you didn't know that was going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Because
you're thinking probably she was going to be asleep anyways. The house is secure or the apartment is secure. So you're not thinking about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We have different expectations. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We have different, that's what's happening. She had an expectation and you didn't have that expectation. Mm-hmm. So before COVID, Jason and I really don't have, I would say when you would go out with your friends, I had an expectation for you not to spend the entire night away because I'm going to worry. But we already have an understanding that he doesn't really have a time limit on when you can come home. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But, and Jason don't go out that often, right? So when he goes out and, if he wants to stay till 3:00 in the morning, I don't really have an expectation. Mm-hmm. My expectation was, as far as that, I say I don't have an expectation, but I do have one. I have an expectation that if you're going to be out all night, then I should have some sort of phone call, a text message or something.
Yeah, it definitely should be a part of a plan, even in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Just say, hey, there, I don't know how long I'm gonna be out. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'll keep you posted along the way.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's better. I shouldn't say that I don't have any. So just putting it up there up front. But because we never go out that much, right? then it's like, oh, when you go out, you're going to go out for a long time. You know what I mean? That's that's what I'm going to do. You know, I'm trying to kick it.
Right.
Because we, parents. So like, if we going out, like, yeah, we gonna go out. Right. So anyway, so yes, I think that's a big part of this too, is like explaining, let's start with that difference and saying, I see what you're saying, or like speak back to say what they're saying to you, right? Say that to them, and then tell them, I would like to, it seems like we have a difference of expectation or something. And so I want to talk about this and get a solution to the problem moving forward. Right. So here's an example of that situation where someone just kind of attacked you. They gave an example of two people who live together. I can't remember if they were a couple, but one person didn't do the dishes as quickly as the other person did. Dang. And so
I get timed on the dishes.
Well, I shouldn't say as quickly, like they would wait a day. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
And then the other person didn't, I was just say the woman didn't really particularly care for the dishes being in the sink for a whole day. Yeah. And so she would end up washing his dishes because she couldn't stand to see it. So she comes to him and says, if Jill comes, so here's the example. If Jill comes to Jason, that's the name of the person in the book.
Common name.
Okay. And says, we need to talk about how you ruin all our meals by being so obsessive about the dishes. Oh, Jason was the one that was obsessive about she felt like was obsessive about the dishes. Yeah. So he was the one that did not like the dishes in the sink for long periods of time.
Exactly.
I should not have went the gendered way. Like I just, said, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. Jason might find himself wanting to respond from inside his story, which is, what? You're the one with the problem. You're the biggest slob I know.
Oh, wow.
But if she come at him and saying, you ruining stuff, right? Blah, 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 blah. And so, like you said, defenses are going to come up.
Right.
You're going to attack, you know what I'm saying? Right back. He said, but if he does, he'll send the conversation toward a brick wall. So here is something that he could say. Okay.
Like they said earlier, you might be right, but you're wrong at the top of your tongue.
Yes, we've talked about that in another episode.
Fighting without fighting?
No, it was actually, I think, his needs, her needs, I believe, or maybe it was, I can't remember actually.
But check out Fighting Without Fighting, because that'll definitely help in this. Wow.
So it says, instead, Jason can treat Jill's opening as part of the third story. This is explaining how to do the third story. He might say, okay, it sounds like you're pretty unhappy with how I handled the dishes. I have trouble with how you deal with the dishes. Okay. 2. So I think we each have different preferences and assumptions around that. It seems like that would be a good thing for us to talk about. So of course you can put it in your own words, but do you get the gist?
I get the gist. I know this is this book and this is their method. But if you're going to be in somebody else's story, if you're going to pull back from their story, don't bring up nothing in your story.
But this,
because he said, it sounds like to me you have issues with me doing the dishes. I have issues with you too. But you don't leave that out.
But I don't agree with that.
Leave that out. No, we pulling back from her story. So it's like, okay, you feel like I ruin our meals because of the dishes. I can kind of see a little bit. Let's get more into that. Why do you feel? Just leave that out. Leave out what I feel about it. Let's dive into what she feels about it. You know what I'm saying? And then let's get into that, get all immersive, because when you say I have problems with you too,
but you don't have to say it that way.
That's gonna still rise up her defenses just a little bit.
I don't think so.
Why? Just leave it out. What's the point? Because I'm gonna get to it anyways.
I think it's like setting up the whole conversation. You explaining how the conversation is going to go.
This is a journey. This is a story, and it's gonna be twists and turns. So let's just stick with, because she gonna want to. You speaking music to her ears when you saying, "Oh, I see you have an issue with how I like to get dishes done. I can kind of see how you have that issue. Let's talk about that more.
But what if you can't see how they have that issue?
Well, if I can't see it, then I'm gonna say, hey, I see you have issues on how I want dishes done. You know, I want to learn more I want to learn more why you think that way.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's like, it's no defense it's not gonna bring up no defenses whatsoever with that. Like, that's just gonna be like, she gonna be
but most people want, when you in that moment, you want to, I want my perspective to be heard too. Not just,
okay, you just told me to take a deep breath and count to 4. So this ain't about you. It is
about me. It's about both of us.
No, it's about the problem.
Yes, and
right?
we are
so it's me and you versus the problem. So we got to get to the bottom of the problem. Mm-hmm. And if I throw in there, I got issues with you too, or if I bring in my story into your story, that's gonna throw some alarms off.
But both stories make up the third story.
Okay, maybe so.
Because both stories, a third story is a person who is looking and they can see both stories.
And that's fine. But can we at least get through her story first? If because I want her to be loose. I want her to be like, okay, sound like he getting, let's talk more about it. Yeah. He's listening. You know, she feel like, okay, he's listening. So when you get yours out, when you tell me about what I've been doing, okay, now it's my turn. Mm-hmm. And when I get mine out, I don't want you to say nothing.
So what if do you like this one? Because this one is kind of, I don't
want you to say nothing negative about what I'm trying to say. Not saying you can't speak, but yeah.
Right. Well, this one is if you initiated it. If Jason initiated the conversation with Jill. Okay. Let me step back to that. It says, Jill, you and I seem to have different preferences about when the dishes get done or beliefs about when they should be done. I wonder if that's something we could talk about.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
But that's if he initiated.
Okay.
So the other one was...
Yeah, she coming at you. Mm-hmm. She initiated it by coming at you. You just, it's okay. Take them hits. Whoop, whoop, whoop. She talking crazy. Okay, cool. Calm down. It's all good. We about to get to a solution. Mm-hmm. And once you, one thing that men, and not just men, but people in general, it's certain things that we got to control in our lives. You know what I'm saying? You got to control your physical body. Mm-hmm. You got to control your mind, and you got to control your emotions, right? We have to learn how to control those things. Mm-hmm. So if somebody's popping off at you, that doesn't give you a license to pop off back. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you got to be able to say, okay, because the ultimate goal is happiness. That's how we want to be. We don't want to, she popping off. You don't want to pop off just because she popping off. No, you want to be happy. You want to be peace. You want to have some peace, right? So the quick road to the peace is just don't acknowledge that. Okay, seems like we having some differences on washing the dishes. Cool. Can we have a conversation about it? Mm-hmm. And if she's still popping off, then it ain't time to talk about it. It's like, okay, you still upset. I'm trying to talk to you about it. I'm finna exit the conversation. Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk later.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you make a good point. We would have to ask the authors what they think.
Hey, at this point, this is Loveology podcast. And we read these books. Mostly I actually read most of these books. And they have some good insight, but this is our community. And we want to hear from you guys too. What do y'all think? What are y'all going through when you having a flare up in your relationship? What are some things that you do? We just using this as a starting point. Mm-hmm. I believe it's a good starting. I think it's a good way. It's a good option, but it's different strokes for different folks. Some people do things differently. So we would love to hear. Hit us up in the comments. We want to hear from y'all too. And people that's listening, come on, hit us up on loveologypodcast@gmail.com.
Yes. Good job. Okay. So going back to if you are the initiator of the conversation, here's the thing that I wanted to read. It said, importantly, you do not have to know what the other person's story entails to include it in initiating the conversation this way. All you have to do is acknowledge that it is there. that there are probably lots of things that you don't understand about their perspective, and that one of the reasons you want to talk is that you want to learn more about their view.
Mm.
So you can begin from the third story by saying, my sense is that you and I see this situation differently. I'd like to share how I'm seeing it and learn more about how you're seeing it.
Yes.
You like that?
Yes.
Okay.
There's some gold stuff. And I'm telling y'all, like, real talk, like that line she just said, rewind, if you didn't catch it.
I can say it again.
Say it again. I'll say it one more again.
My sense is that you and I see this situation differently. I'd like to share how I'm seeing it and learn more about how you're seeing it.
Okay. So, and for, from other people that say, hey, I see you got some issues. I see you feeling some type of way. You know what I'm saying?
But that could be, that could be.
I
see you feeling some type of way.
No, it's all about how you deliver it. Communication is 70% of not what you say, is how you say it. Right. So say it right. You know what I'm saying? So I see you feeling some type of way, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if we can, let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. Let's get to the bottom of it, because all I want to do is love you. Come on.
Well, what if it's...
Come on. So what I'm saying is, practice that in the mirror. You hear me? Because when you're in the heat of the battle, you got that stuff got to spit out. Like in the military, we had to have the emergency procedures.
Oh yeah,
and we had to do them all over and over again.
The military is all about, like, let's just practice it until it is second nature.
Yes.
Practice.
So I'm telling you, if you able to spit out that emergency, that's an emergency in your head. Like, emergency. This thing can go south real fast. Let me spit out my emergency procedures.
Yeah, and the point they did make in this book is that a mediator uses this formula, but they have a lot of practice. So yes, practice makes perfect.
Yeah. So emergency, say that line, and let's see how it goes. If he or she is still going to the left, like, look, I want to get to the bottom of it, and I'm starting off with your story. So if you don't want to talk about what's frustrating you in a calm way, then you just want to be mad just to be mad. Mm-hmm. Sound like you need to go do some push-ups or get you a punching bag or something, because something else is bothering you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let's get to the bottom of it. I want to be there for you. Mm-hmm. I'm your partner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because life is crazy. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of traps. There's a lot of fake people out here. It's a lot of people that's really do you wrong. I'm not one of them. Okay. We on the same team, baby. Let's go.
Okay. So the second part of this is to extend an invitation, and that is to let them know that you want to solve a problem. And we are having this conversation because we want to solve the problem.
Yes.
And that's basically it. I mean, well, kind of going back to when we were talking about setting up the conversation, this is, they say to describe your purpose. Okay. So letting them know up front that your goal for the discussion is to understand their perspective, share your own, and talk about how to go forward together makes the conversation significantly less mysterious and threatening. Knowing that their perspective has a place in the conversation and that this isn't a campaign to change them makes it more likely that they will accept your invitation to have a conversation.
Mm.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes or yes?
Yes.
That's what you like to say.
Uh-huh. She's picking up something from me.
Oh gosh. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Like for that. Like, I mean, there's more stuff in this book. And like I said, I always encourage people, to read the book. I'm leaving things out, of course. It's a big fat book, everything. Right? So
y'all wouldn't listen to it anyway.
Yeah. I have a Libby app. That you can
Libby.
That's yes, it's awesome. Yes, it's called Libby, Libby,
short for library.
Yes. And I love it. You can get audiobooks and books on your phone or your iPad or whatever. But yeah, it's you just connect it to a public the public library in your area, and you can get books. So I have this on audio and on my Libby app. So if you don't like to read, you're auditory learner,
right,
you can get an audiobook.
Exactly.
Okay. So yes,
it might be on YouTube as well. Who knows? A lot of books on YouTube.
Sure is.
Check it out.
There's just so many ways to get information nowadays.
If it's on YouTube, I'm gonna put it right here. Bye, y'all.
So here's the last thing that we'll talk about. Okay, so now how do you talk about it? right? Like, so you got the setup, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to talk about? We're going to talk about the 3 conversations, what we talked about in the past episodes, which is what happened. You're going to have the feelings conversation and identity conversation. So if you want to learn more about that, check out those other episodes. And but moving forward, the next couple of episodes, we're going to be wrapping up this book, and we will be talking about how to talk about it. And that's listening, expression, and problem solving.
Okay.
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 You like it?
I love it.
And Jason is just, he get on my nerves because he's smart, but you kind of said something earlier in this conversation, but it reminded me of this quote. It says, a real conversation is an interactive process, one where you are constantly going to be listening, sharing your view, asking questions, and negotiating to get the conversation back on track when it starts to go off the rails. And so this is what the rest of the book is about, is keeping the conversation going. So your point is that you don't want to bring your story in because you feel like that's gonna kind of derail it.
Yeah, it's gonna bring up defenses, and it's gonna distract. We in her story. So if I'm coming in late at night, she popping off, obviously she feel like I'm in the wrong on something.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I see you feel some type of way. I see you upset.
Mm-hmm.
I want to learn more what's going on.
Yes.
What can I do what can I do better to make you not feel this way?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And then you have to tell your perspective.
She give me her perspective. I'm listening. I'm taking out, and I'm saying some of the things back, like you out 3:00 in the morning. Okay, so you don't want me to be out 3:00 in the morning. Okay, I see that. Okay. You just getting it in. You're nodding and you repeating some of the things that she's saying. Okay, and then okay, great. Well, now I'm learning because I didn't know that some of these things was bothering you. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it's time for me to share my perspective of it. Now mind you, I'm sharing my perspective pre this conversation because we just had it. Mm-hmm. So here's my perspective of it. And then you give your perspective, hopefully she'll be listening. If not, just remind her, say, hey, we just went through your perspective, hey, could we go through mine? You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it calm. And if she don't want to do that, again, if she's still popping off at this point, it's something else. You know what I'm saying? So we need to get her time to chill. Like, okay, we can't have this conversation right now. Mm-hmm. Then it's either go to bed. It's 3:00 in the morning, tired, probably a little drunk a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Or if it's too hot, then just leave the premises. Go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Because who knows what's bothering her at this point. You don't want that to bubble up to take out on you because mm-hmm. that can have some.
Yeah, but I totally agree with what you're saying. I just want to make sure that everyone understands that your perspective should be told. You're saying just soak it all in and then tell your perspective.
Yeah. Okay. Because you want to get to yours as well. You want to give her time. I want to give you your time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then, hey, okay, well, you can kind of look at the clock like, okay, she's been talking about 10 minutes. Okay, we gave 10 minutes for your perspective. Is it okay if I get 10 minutes for my perspective? And she should say yeah.
Well, yeah. And so I think especially for women, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe a lot of men struggle with this too. But, I just really want to make sure it's important that they're not saying, and Jason is not saying, that your story is not to be told. Your story is told.
The story got to be told.
Yes. Well, some people don't. Some people just, take what the other person is saying. Like some people are pleasers. And like I said, I think this is something that women struggle with
more.
Your
story has to be told.
But they're pleasers and they just, they just take it. They don't.
You're going to get used and abused by the people who love you.
Yeah.
That's the worst situation. One of the worst situations you can be in. Be used and abused by the people who love you and the people that you love.
Yes.
So you have to tell your story. You got to put your perspective out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And if you have an issue, this is another key thing. If you have an issue with someone, whether it's your mate or whether it's a friend or family member, you got to bring it up so you can get their perspective. You can't.
Yes.
You just can't take one-sided information. You just can't do it.
Right.
You got to get. Now, when you talk to that person, you can see if they lying or whatever, but at least get the other side.
Right.
At least attempt to get the other side.
Yes. And so the biggest takeaway for this portion was just to, go ahead and say, like, I think that we see these differently. Use those words as like those keywords. It's like, I want to tell my perspective and I also want to understand your perspective. And I want us to have a conversation about how we can improve this, but let them know, like, if you're the person that's initiating, definitely let them know, I really want to understand your perspective, because a lot of times, and that's just something for us to, hopefully we've learned, we talked about this in the other episode. So hopefully we understand now that it's like, no, I need to understand them. I need to hear their story too. I shouldn't just go in thinking that I'm right and they're wrong.
Right.
Let me hear why they see this the way that they see it, whatever it is. Right. Let me understand that first, and then we can get a solution to this problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
All righty.
That's it?
That's all.
That's all. All right, love. So, man, we really appreciate y'all checking in yet again, but don't forget to get your Loveologist t-shirt, because we are fly and looking good. And you can too. Just get your Loveology podcast. You can look good regardless. I'm just joking. But get your Loveology podcast t-shirt. But this is a Loveologist, because we all studying this love, baby.
Yes.
And if you want to become a Patreon, shout out to our Patreons out there in this world. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all. We're going to have more things for our Patreons, and we just did something special for our Patreons. Y'all know what we did, so shout out to the Patreons. But if you want to become a Patreon, go ahead and go to loveologypodcast.com. It's a button right there that says become a Patreon. Pick a tier and join us, because certain tiers give certain things, right? So you definitely want to become a patron. It's an awesome thing. Yep. If you got questions or anything, email us at loveologypodcast@gmail.com. And man, that's just about it, man. Support the podcast, and not just the podcast, but just support positive things, Yep. Post positive stuff. Say hello. Say I love you. Say good job. And let's make this world a better place, one compliment at a time. You hear me?
Yes.
All right.
All righty.
All right. So we're going to catch y'all next time. Peace out.
Bye.